succeeding is so hard. Becoming the version of you that you want to be, and doing something that you love and making it profitable and building a team and all that, staying power, staying consistent, all that is so freaking hard. I can understand the allure of wanting to take a shortcut for sure.
So I'm talking to him about it one-on-one. You already know this, that's why I can say it. You are barely scratching what you know you can do. He's like, fuck, I know. But I would never say that to someone who's already putting it all on the court. I mean, I knew he was being lazy, and he knows it too. That's why I can say it. So there's also context of the room as well. And I just think social media and podcasting, it's very hard to get the truth in these mediums.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1960, the year I was born. Why, and I wasn't really, but I like to say stuff like that. Why do you like the content that you like? I feel like people would consider that a dad joke. Alan and I are together. When we're together, we're never together anymore. But we'd go to get coffee together, maybe a couple donies back in the day, and the person would say 1956, and I'd say, the year I was born. And I would say it no matter what. It doesn't matter if it was 12, 18, the year I was born. And no response ever from anybody. Never got anything, not even a chuckle. So,
yeah, it's not a good joke.
I think that's a dad joke 101. Okay, so Alan and I were talking before this. And I don't really know how to preface it. I can imagine somebody who tunes into this podcast for the first time and hears Alan recording late on a Friday night having a giggle fest, and Alan saying, I look like shit, and me saying, dude, you do look like shit. Yeah, you do. You really do. Thinking of a variety of different things. And since the very beginning of this, our goal was always to document our journey, talk about our experiences, and share them with the community. That was always our goal. That's been our goal since the very beginning. We wanted it to be you're a fly on the wall of a philosophical conversation between friends, essentially. And
Whoa.
Yeah.
Change the way you think, change the way you act, change the way you live. The Hyper-Conscious Podcast, to help raise people's awareness of themselves, others, and the world through being a fly on the wall. Deep conversations about personal growth and personal development.
Yeah, but that's a mouthful. So much to say. You know, I said was
just
smooth.
saying.
I have a cat hair in my mouth, I think. Couple.
Real quick.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Because we've been leaning into some of these funny tangents.
Yeah.
You said dad joke, and I thought about a time in my life where there was a woman who said that, I said, what do you think of my haircut? You don't like my haircut? She said, it's a little dilfy.
Dilfy?
It's a little dilfy. You know what dilf means?
It's probably MILF, but with a D.
Yeah. Dilfy? I was like, what does that mean? She's like, just a little dilfy.
Who was this
little
person?
side tangent.
Don't tell me.
An ex.
An ex.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between dilfy and like just saying like you look attractive in it? They're just saying you look
I think
old?
she was making fun of me.
Definitely was. Yeah, but why?
That's what I'm saying.
It's quite a backhanded compliment.
Definitely. I got a lot of those.
Yeah, you did.
And I remember thinking, so do you like it or you don't like it?
That's what you think spitting game is. You think that's like the way right there. It's like, oh, I'm gonna give this person like kind of a compliment, but they're not gonna know if it's a compliment or not. And they're gonna be thinking about me for the rest of the day. That's what happened. You're still talking about it.
I'm still talking.
Their person
no, I'm on to her. I know what she was doing now.
Well, it took you 36 years. Okay, yeah. This is my thought. This was my thought for this episode. What if the reason you like the content is because it seems like those people have it all figured out, and it seems like they don't deal with any of the stuff that you deal with? And what if, hypothetically, right, we're going to play the theoretic game, what if hypothetically they actually don't understand you because they don't seem to struggle with any of the things that you struggle with? Would you, so if you were to say, I resonate with this content for blank reason, would it be, I resonate with this content because it seems like they have it all figured out and they can help me figure it out? I resonate with this content because they're vulnerable and relatable and I feel like they connect to what I'm going through. I think if we had buckets for why we resonated with certain content, we'd be way more successful. That's my thesis.
I want to give everyone the origin of why this happened.
Mine wasn't good enough, huh?
No, that's not what it is. I'm adding to it. And yours was wildly inadequate.
It was all over the place. Honestly, it was. I can open my window because it's about 200 degrees in here, so
All right,
I'm right
sounds
here.
good. And you're in a
just gonna-
sweatshirt, man. You're in like a
Well,
jacket.
I've already been outside today. I know you probably haven't. What time did you get up today? You recorded an episode before this, so you're probably
You
up
know it.
relatively early.
I was
It
up
was-
at 9, son.
It's 2 degrees this morning in New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's not.
So
it's not nice.
But the office is really
Spring's
so-
coming, man. I'm telling you, it's on its way.
Okay. Don't look at my butt.
That's
And if you're on YouTube, don't look at my butt. Look away.
That's a good way. That's a good way to get everybody to look at your butt.
That's a strong hook.
Okay. This is something that in the past I would have been too scared to share. There's a book called The Biology of Belief, and a man by the name of Bruce Lipton, who I respect his work. The Biology of Belief, I do recommend you read it. It's I think very valuable. And it talks about how much your beliefs shape your health. The biology of belief, that's what you'd think. As a matter of fact, way back in the day, we read this in book club.
We did.
Your wife Taryn was there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is how my brain actually works, and I hope that I don't get villainized for this, but if I do, it is what it is. I got to be honest. I hear an interview with Bruce talking about the biology of belief. And there's this part of me in my mind that is listening to this man talk about biology and how you literally, with your beliefs, can change your physiology and biology and be healthier, and you can live longer and all this stuff. And there's this part of me that is looking at him and, again, scared to share this. He doesn't look well. He's not in shape. And there's this little part of me that is wondering, if you're such an expert at this topic of believing in yourself and believing so much, in fact, that it changes your biology, why aren't you more well and vibrant? And with you and me, we're not well and vibrant, and we know why. We're grinding, and we own it, and we just say, yeah, like last night, it was a long day at 10, I didn't actually yesterday, that was the day before, but it's been a long week, and I had a speech the day before, blah, blah, blah. But we were recording late. Was this last night or the night before? I honestly don't know.
This was last night. Yeah.
Last night.
It just meshes together.
Yeah. And I said openly on the podcast, I said, I look like shit. And I meant it. Now, I'm not trying to be self-deprecating. What I'm saying is I need to take better care of myself. And lately, I've been perusing the self-improvement space. Some of the bigger podcasters. Now, imagine being a podcaster, building a self-improvement podcast, and then you listen to the people at the top of this industry, and you watch their podcast, and you sit there and go, Kevin and I are so different. And I'm sitting there going, is that good? Is that bad? We don't really know how to be any different than we are. It's not like we want to do it their way. And I came to this realization that these people, whether, and again, just think of Mel Robbins, Joe Rogan, Tony Robbins, Jordan Peterson, Ed Milet, whatever, big names. Like, why are we so different? And I've been thinking about this and contemplating this, and Kevin and I have a really hard time talking from a place of already having arrived. Yeah, we'll talk at times about where we are now. Yeah, we'll talk at times about what we used to suck at. Yeah, but here's the thing that I don't see a lot of. You and I talk about where we currently suck a lot. We talk about where we are currently inadequate. We talk not from a place of having arrived. And I don't know if it's because we're younger or if we're onto something that these people aren't. My only goal is to help the person on the other end of this. Seriously, this is everything I'm saying right now is to try to help the person on the other end improve themselves and improve their lives. And to me, it doesn't help you unless I say, hey, I'm also sucking really bad at X, Y, and Z still. Like, not before and now I've overcome it. I'm talking like, and here's where I'm actually different statistically. I just think that there's a lot of, whether it's Bruce or whoever, there's a lot of talking about their thing and teaching their thing, and I respect the impact they're having. I think they're doing a lot of good in the world. I'm not taking anything from that. What I am saying, though, is that you and I are doing it very differently. It's almost like you're on the journey with us. You're on the train with us. We haven't arrived yet.
And we never will.
And we never will. We're always striving and never arriving. And I think social status comes from having, quote unquote, arrived. But in the real world, we're only 36 and 35. We haven't arrived. This is a infinite game. And we're trying to get better each day too. And I think that's what makes us different. And I just want to plant our flag there because I can't ever not talk to you, Kev, on this podcast about where I want to improve.
That was it. Done?
I think so.
It's hard. Sometimes you'll have that and then you'll keep going. So I wanted to make sure. I didn't want to say any of that because I don't like talking about us. So I'm glad Alan did. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird with that.
Do you ever get the feeling when you do watch other content?
I don't watch any other podcasts by design.
Why?
Because most of them infuriate me. I think you and I did whether you're watching or listening, I don't want you to think this is me pumping our tires because it's not. There's layers under it. Alan and I stopped having guests, like at the time where we could have had some of the biggest guests ever for us, like the opportunity to have very, 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 very big guests on. Now, if you look at the way the guest circuit is happening on podcasts, everybody just, when they have the new book, they go on this podcast, they talk about the same shit, essentially, and they promote their book. And again, I think big podcasts have become late night television. That's what you do. You go on late night television, you talk about your movie. Oh, how's the family? Blah, blah, blah. When's the movie coming out? What was the best part? Tell us some sauce on it. And I just think now, what has happened is somebody makes a name for themselves, even if them making a name for themselves is not based on facts or truth, then the way to grow your podcast is to get big guests. So you go have this person on, even if they don't know anything, and none of what they talk about is scientifically proven or vetted. I shared something in my story yesterday about somebody was sharing how vegetables are terrible for you, and they're what's killing you. Like, that is not true. It's not true. But this person will go.
Can you share the story about the woman who said, I made $300,000 a year, but I'd never used social media? Yeah. Can you go into that?
Yeah. There's
anonymously, of course.
Somebody I follow, and she seems like she does really well in the world. She has positive content. It's not on the high end of what seems like scamism, but she put a post up the other day that said, I make $300,000 a year. I work 1 hour a day. I don't use social media at all, and I'm doing a master class to teach you how to do it. It was posted on social media, and it was a paid ad. So you're quite literally using this on social media, and I think she has like 3,500 posts. So she's essentially posted every day for the last 10 years.
Wait,
that's how
the numbers on that.
Well, 3,650 would be.
That's every day for the last 10 years?
I think it was either 2,500 or 3,500. She has posted every day for the last handful of years at least.
Yeah, at least 5, if not 10, right?
At least.
And she's saying she created a $300,000 business.
That's how you build the audience. You didn't. Now this is what we were kind of talking about in yesterday's episode. What I do today for the podcast is different than what I did for the podcast 8 years ago. We have an amazing team, and we have a business, and we make revenue. We record the episode, we throw it in Google Drive, and the team does all the amazing stuff that they do.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I did all the audio editing. I did all the video editing. I made the clips. I did the branding.
It was actually me personally. I did it.
Yeah, Alan did all of it.
No, I didn't do any of it, man.
In the beginning,
Kev used to say the talent has arrived.
Yeah, Alan would just show up. But I did all that in the beginning. So imagine if I ran an ad on here. Here's how to do almost no work and get really good podcast results. It's like, well, no, it doesn't really work that way.
Without doing a lick of audio or video editing.
Imagine You can if you pay someone,
Yeah. Well,
right? But most people can't. Most people can't afford to pay someone in the beginning. So that kind of, the hard thing for me is, I think this person is unintentionally being misleading, because how do you teach somebody how to do something that you have been doing for the last decade? And you're going to teach them in a free masterclass. They don't have your audience, so it's not going to work the same. And
you're teaching them how you did it in a way that doesn't include how you actually did it.
Right.
That's the alarming part.
Yeah, you're setting them up for...
And that's...
It's the whole thought of, I can eat... Okay, I've been a bodybuilder for 15 years. I could eat pizza every single day and look essentially however I wanted, if I was disciplined enough. Terrible advice to give to somebody who's just starting out in fitness. The worst advice maybe ever of all time. That's the same thing. It's very similar.
I was on a podcast earlier with Emilia doing Conscious Couples podcast, and the episode was a very simple concept, which is how to improve your relationship. And the way to improve your relationship is to improve yourself. And candid, live on the Conscious Couples couch, I'm sitting there and I'm like, Emilia, sweetheart, what's one thing that you think would improve our relationship that you need to improve? It's like, what do you need to improve? Right? Not me. And of course I answered it right after. I'm joking, but I was being playful. And she went into this whole thing of all this stuff she needs to improve. And I had this moment of, why don't other podcasters do that? Like, why aren't they showing up saying, I'm really sucking here, and here? They're always, I'm telling you, they go from this place of where I used to be, where I am now, and how I got there. That's what it is. What I used to be, where I am now, and how I got there. And I get why. It's the hero's journey. It's almost like they're unconsciously avoiding status hits. Last night, you and I were laughing at me at how silly and stupid and how bad I was at speaking. And after that episode, I had this moment of, why doesn't anyone else do that?
Well, it might make for a terrible listening experience. I mean, that could be a piece of it. I don't know.
I think it's more honest. I think I bet you our listeners probably enjoy when we are honest about that stuff. Like, not everyone's 100% all the time, but yet I think most people are acting like they are.
Well, I think most things now are almost treated like a movie, where it's not one take, it's a million takes to get one, and you only use the best cuts. I think almost everything is that way if you think about it.
But that's nothing like real life.
I know, but I feel like, going back to why we're talking about what we're talking about today, if you resonate with content that is completely the opposite of your real life, I think it's worth exploring, because if that's the only reason you resonate with it, it doesn't mean it's going to be helpful. It doesn't mean, like, some of the people who are in the best shape give the worst fitness advice.
I saw a video yesterday that was really hard for me. It was someone we know from our past in their, $80,000 Range Rover or whatever it is, and putting on makeup while talking. And I actually really adore this person as a person in real life. It's just a very interesting thing to study, because what do I want to say here? I don't want to come off as negative, but I want to be honest. It's so hard to are you guys negative? Listen. This person is curating every word. Every fucking word is curated. Every shot, every take, every single fucking thing is curated. I've been in this person's home, and trust me, the backdrop that she records in looks pristine and gorgeous, and behind the scenes, it's an absolute shit show. I need to be the guy who owns, you're not the only one with a messy bathroom, people. Anyone out there watching or listening, you're not the only one with shit in your basement. My basement is full of stuff. We still need to clean it out. My garage has junk. We have a donation pile that's getting huge. It might as well be a goddamn mountain we can climb. Right? It's really important for people to understand. Everything online is so goddamn curated. We're losing sight of real life. And the truth is, happiness and fulfillment is in real fucking life. And I get why that is, but it's very important for us to lean into the truth of, and going back to the Conscious Couples podcast episode, Emilia asked me, I don't even think she asked me, I jumped right into it. After she said all the things she wishes she could do better in our relationship, I went into a list of them. I have a list of things that I need to be doing better. But we're the ones who are supposed to be experts. But the reason we're experts is because we're working on it. I'm not the best. I'm the best partner for Emilia, and I know that, but I have to work at that every goddamn day. I've been jeffing lately. I've been missing my shifts with the fur babies. I've been killing it in business, crushing it in fitness. My sleep has been off, and I've not been as present. I haven't been doing the kitchen as well. I have a lot of chores and stuff that I need to make sure I'm support. She's been supporting me most of the time lately. I know that. And I'm sitting there on the podcast going, are Kevin and I'm always up against this thing of like, are we too honest for our own good? And I don't know if I care. I think we have to be that because I don't think I can ever talk about I don't think I can ever not talk about where we're currently sucking. I don't want to get to a place like, what are we struggling with now? Right? We're the only podcasters in history to say that we're climbing out of debt. You know that?
No, there's no way we are.
Dude, that's an excessive.
Yeah, I think it's
You never
rare.
hear these people talk about their debts, though. Not until after they're out of them.
Well, because I think I can imagine a world where, again, I don't think it'll resonate.
How rare do you think it is? Out of 100 podcasters, how many of them do you think talk about how their number one priority in 2025 is to climb out of debt?
I don't know. Out of how many?
100. Okay, I think that's high, but
Pick a number
and by
between
the way,
1 and 10.
just so everyone knows, all businesses have debt. How many businesses out of 100 do you think have debt?
A 99.
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, maybe it's not 99, but the point is what do you think makes, I know you don't like pumping our tires, but our listeners, if you're out there watching or listening, you know something's different here. And I think this is it.
Well, that's hard for me because I don't know. I just think you and I show up and we do our best to stay us, and we want to make sure we add value, and we want to be philosophical, and we want to have fun, and we want this to be fulfilling, and anytime it's not, we revisit why it's not, so then things change. I think that maybe going back to the episode that you did for the Conscious Couples podcast, because I think you and I are more focused on the work than we are the front of the scenes. Yeah, we do an episode every day, and I feel like we are strong podcasters, and we learn a lot and all that. We don't just show up here and take it lightly and say, like, whatever happens, happens. We don't do that. But for every hour of podcasting, there's 8 hours of work behind the scenes. And I think that's different. I don't think I think some people stumble upon it. This is why. Because it's you and I's job to get better. It's not necessarily other people's jobs to get better. It's not. I don't think it's the same. And I can imagine when somebody gets to a place where they're talking to an audience that's way bigger than they ever thought they would get, and they haven't worked on the insecurities, they can't reveal that stuff. I can imagine. I can understand that. I can empathize with that. Imagine if you and I we got caught up in we have to look good at all times and we can never take any credibility hits. And then eventually we get to the place where we cross 1 million listens and we have a large audience. And then it's like, dude, I'm like struggling with stuff, but I know nobody can know because we've gone too far. I've already built up this facade.
Yeah,
I think
that's
you cross
scary. I would feel so trapped by that.
Of course.
Because last night, it felt so freeing to laugh. Like, you weren't laughing at me, you were laughing with me. And I know that energetically, trust me. I've been laughed at a lot, so I know the difference.
we were having fun.
But afterwards, when I got off, I thought to myself, like, is that bad? Do people think we're less put together because of that? When in reality, it's everyone's.
Well, and I think you and I just don't care that much.
I know.
Honestly.
I'm trying to figure out why.
Because in real life, I actually think I'm more put together in real life than I would ever think if I listened to this podcast. Of course. Yeah. That's the fun of it. On the podcast, it's almost like, this is what I said to Alan. I said the podcast is kind of like a behind the scenes where you really get to know what's going on. I'm like sick again. I've been sick 3 times this year. It's like the fourth week. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's the worst. I don't understand it. It's very humbling. It sucks. I'm trying to do that more on social media, and I'm trying to just, I don't know. It makes sense to me. Real quick. Just as an example. Imagine imagine this. I would bet this has happened. I would bet a large amount of money this has happened. Imagine there's a podcast that is predominantly about relationships. Not 100% about relationships, but predominantly they talk about it a lot. Let's say there's 2 partners. I would bet money that there have been businesses, podcasts, YouTube channels, coaching, membership, certifications, whatever, that have been separated and just kept the gig going because that's how they made a living. And then eventually,
I never do that.
I'm certain it's happened because it's come out that people have done it.
Why am I different in that? I'm actually asking from a place of curiosity. Like, Emilia and I would never do that. Our relationship is better behind the scenes than it is on the show.
Well,
by a significant margin.
It makes sense.
And I think you and I are better behind the scenes than on the show. And I think that's not true for other podcasters. And I don't understand why. I'm trying to actually understand. Like, even in real time, I'm striving, not arriving.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes.
I think you and I value authenticity. I think some people talk about it. Like, yeah, I really value authenticity. It's like, well, you should start being yourself then. Because you can't really value something you're not.
Back when you and I didn't make any money with the podcast, we never talked about money. We didn't teach money. We talked about being broke. I remember you talking about your car and all that kind of stuff. But like,
yeah, but in fairness, I didn't talk about that at the time.
You did.
I didn't talk about it
not long after.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to talk about stuff. I mean, again, the old don't talk about open wounds, talk about scars.
Yeah.
It depends. Obviously, it depends on the open wound, but I wasn't ready to talk about it. In 2019, I wasn't ready to talk about how I couldn't get Christmas
if it's
presents.
A level 10 wound, you don't want to talk about it while you're bleeding.
Yeah.
But you don't have to wait until you're a billionaire to talk about how you were broke once. I think there's such a... I've always craved content like this where people were more, I guess it comes down to just being more honest. I think, where Emilia and I on the podcast, I knew she would have no problem answering where I think she could improve, or where she thinks she could improve in our relationship. And then I had this moment of, if someone's listening and hearing all the things she needs to do better, or thinks she needs to do better, is that a cred build or a cred hit? Because it's a cred build for me.
I think it's a cred build. There's a lot of relationship podcasts that do that. I think relationships are a space that you see that pretty often.
I don't listen
Not
to
pretty often.
Relationship podcasts.
There's definitely, because I've seen clips on social media where they're like really talking about they're like doing it live, talking about their problems live. So I think in relationship land, that's way more common than maybe and maybe it's because there's 2 people. I don't know. But I think there's a lot of big shows that do that, so I would say it's probably a cred build, because I don't think I think now more than ever, people are really starting to resonate more with authenticity than perfection. And we know it's not real. We know it's not.
One more tiny example. I know this is me exploring. When I was at the speech, the training, I was telling our story, and I said where we started and opened with a story, birth father, stepfather, all this stuff. And I showed one slide of you and I now. Almost 2,000 episodes, top 100 show, self-improvement, all this slide. 1 million plus listens, $1 million plus dollars, blah, 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 all this stuff. And one of the students later on in the training said, well, it didn't just start there. Like, when did you cross 1 million? I said, I need to make this as clear as possible. The 1 million is aggregated over the total. We didn't make 1 million in 1 year. And I had this moment. Would anyone else say that? Would anyone else go out of their way to say, wait, I need you to know we didn't do that this year.
Some people. Some people.
What percentage?
I don't think it would be the majority.
Right. I don't see a ton of that. It's almost like I had one mentor in the past who I don't consider a mentor at all anymore, but like I did at the time, who said, always err on the high side of perception. I don't think we do that as much as other people. I don't think I do that as much as other people.
I don't know. Because I think you and I realize that nothing that we do in the public, like no matter how good you feel on a podcast, it doesn't mean you're going to feel any better in real life. And I think you and I have experienced that. Like I took pictures today at the gym, and I thought I found like the supreme lighting yesterday, and I just couldn't find it today. And I was like, oh, that's that. Like I could probably find a filter to make it look better, but I don't want to do that. That's not what I actually look like. It doesn't serve me to do that. Well, even the lighting's a little like, I look way better in that lighting than I do in regular lighting, but I also don't know what's closer to reality. Like the lighting in the locker room just sucks, and I look way better than that. But the lighting in the ballet room or whatever the hell I'm using, I don't know. Like, is that adding something?
Ballet
like,
on the side. Well, you
probably
need to be the person. Your purpose was to be the person you needed. And
yes.
What if the person you needed wasn't anyone talking from having arrived, but rather is talking about someone still striving? What if that's the person we needed? What if we are unconsciously the male role models we would have needed, and that's why we...
Well, that's the goal. That's the goal.
I don't know. Even when I'm 50, 60, 70, I never intend on... There'd be moments in the training where I would stop the training, and I'd say, listen, I got to give it to you real. Like, boom, 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 boom. And then I'd get back into the training. And I had this moment of why isn't... Emilia said this, like, I've never seen a speaker do that. Why? Like... There's something wrong with that. I shouldn't have to stop the training and then say, hey, listen, let me tell you what it really took. And then go back into like teaching again. You and I are like those meshed, I think. I think we're those meshed. And I think most people are just one or the other. And again, not everybody. Again, Kev often is trying to empathize with both sides, which I think is also why we're different, because you and I are so different. But
well, yeah.
I would stop the training and shift into this sort of, this is what no one will tell you, but I'm certain that this is true. Let me just give it to you real. And they really appreciated that. The feedback I got after was, and I've never had someone talk to me like that. One of my clients, shout out to you, Matt, I know you're listening. He said, I've never had anyone talk to me like that. And he said that to his wife. What he meant is no one's ever brought it that real. No one's ever been that honest. And for him, he's just this amazing, semi-genius, really successful, more successful than all of his peers, probably ostracized because of it type of guy, where I just was honest, like, brother, compared to your potential, like, and here's the thing, you know this. So I'm talking to him about it one-on-one. I said, you already know this. That's why I can say it. You are barely scratching what you know you can do. He's like, fuck, I know. But I would never say that to someone who's already putting it all on the court. I mean, I knew he was being lazy, and he knows it too. That's why I can say it. So there's also context of the room as well. And I just think social media and podcasting, it's very hard to get the truth in these mediums.
I think, yeah, it is. It's very challenging because there is no one answer. There's no one. If there's two people listening, one answer doesn't work. If there's one person listening, you can do one answer, but
I know you're afraid to pump our tires, but I really want to hear what you think about. Like, what do you think makes you different as a podcaster?
I'd rather be honest than successful. I'd rather be more honest and less successful.
And you think other people aren't willing to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, succeeding's hard. Succeeding is so hard. Becoming the version of you that you want to be and doing something that you love and making it profitable and building a team and all that, staying power and staying consistent, all that is so freaking hard. I can understand the allure of wanting to take a shortcut for sure. I just think that I always think about the fact that there's some things that you can't put back in the bag when you take them out of the bag. There's certain things, like I can't edit a photo, because if I edit a photo once, that means I always did. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. If I pay for followers, like, that's not it. That's not the fucking way for me. Because here's the thing, because I care more about what I feel of my success than anybody else does. I don't understand how somebody can go buy followers and not feel like shit about themselves.
I know. Same.
Like, this isn't real.
I felt so bad. There was a story. I came to Kevin almost crying, saying I was so ashamed. There was someone who reached out to me on Instagram, and I fell for it. I was naive. And they said, you'll get more reach. I thought it was paid advertising.
Yeah.
And it was fake. It was all fake. And I came to Kevin. I said, dude, I'm so ashamed. I didn't mean to. The last couple months I've been paying, and I thought it was real reach, and I've realized now it's fake. It's all fake. And I couldn't live with it. Dude, I could have kept going. No one else knew it was fake. I knew it was fake. I can't, dude. I can't. Yeah. You know how many opportunities I had to do steroids when I was a fitness model and all that?
Of course.
I can't do it because I'll know. No one else will know. Half these athletes are on steroids. I know some of them. But I think they sell out a little. I know that they do. That's the truth. I think they do. And maybe we all sell out a little bit, but I'm trying really fucking hard not to. I maybe to our detriment, and I think that's maybe the growth journey. That's something behind the scenes that everyone can really... You want to know what I really struggle with? That. I really struggle with erring on the high side of perception when in reality, I would rather share the reality. Reality is more helpful to everyone. Reality is so much more helpful. There's a photo that I was reluctant to post because I didn't want the cred hit, and now I have to post it. It's been eating at me ever since I didn't post it. I wanted to post it because it was awesome. It was me and the kids, and it's less kids in the audience, and I didn't want to post it because I know it's a cred hit, but I don't care. I have to post it. It's been 3 days, and I can't. It's eating at me every day.
I think that's so much about the audience. And we'll get out of here because I know we got to go. There's a singer, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Camila Cabello, I think is how you pronounce her name. She was in the Fifth Harmony. It was a band. And there was a picture from one of her recent concerts where it was a small crowd. And she's like a big artist, so I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if tickets were too expensive or whatever. Maybe she's fallen off. I don't know. And somebody shared the photo and said something along the lines of, how embarrassing or something. And somebody else, another musician, reshared it and said, I just gained so much respect for Camila Cabello because there's a lot of artists that would say, oh, I'm sick or I don't feel well or something came up and canceled the show. I can understand why somebody would see that and say, oh, wow, she fell off. I can understand that. I can see it from that perspective. Somebody who is jealous of her or envious of her said, yeah, you're going to get what's coming to you. Like, I can see it. I can understand that. But I also do now have more... Here's the truth. This is the truth, for me at least, and then we'll get out of here. Tara and I one time went to dueling pianos. We went on a date night. We went to a dueling piano show. Interesting show. And we were sitting higher up, and you can go down and you can donate money and request a song. Every time we go to a place, Taryn requests Honky Tonk Badonkadonk. That's her song. She requests it every time we go somewhere.
I didn't know you were going there.
where they will play that.
Yeah. I don't even know if I know that song.
You're not missing much. There were these girls and ladies like dancing in the front, just having the time of their lives. And there was a little piece of me that was villainizing them. Like, sit down. Nobody wants to, come on, sit down. Nobody wants to see you dance. Like, come on, sit down. Control yourselves. And then I had a moment where I was like, Kev, why don't you shut the fuck up? The only reason you're villainizing them or judging them is because you don't have the balls to do it. I don't have the balls to go up there. I would love to have that level of confidence or alcohol poisoning, whichever one that they had. I think that's, dude, I wish, and maybe I do now, I don't know. I wish I had the confidence to try to sell out a stadium and then have 200 people show up and then me still go out on stage and just fucking give it everything I got. I know you do. That's like a you thing. You wouldn't even, like, yeah, 200 people showed up.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if I'm there yet internally. Like, I can pretend it doesn't
There was
bother
only
me.
13 or 14 kids at that training,
Well,
and
I
they
respect
wanted
that.
60. They told me 60 plus, and they
I
were
respect
very embarrassed. And I said, "It's all good. I gave everything. If anything, I
and
gave it more, baby."
You and I also have tried to fill rooms.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
You
100%.
thought 60 were coming?
Yep.
I feel you. Oh yeah, I feel you. All good.
I gave those 14 everything I had. 100%.
Well, I think
It's all
that
good.
there's something to be said with, if you would villainize Camilla Cabello, Cabello, I don't know how to pronounce her name. My apologies for pronouncing it
I
wrong.
would never villainize that in a million years.
Well, if
But
you're
is
watching
that
or
actually
listening,
a cred hit?
yeah, it's a massive credit.
It is. Is it 14 kids a credit?
No, not for me. It wasn't your job to put people in the seats.
Do you think for other people it is?
I think
Yeah, it is.
For
It
some.
is. Yeah,
for
for
some.
other. That's what
For
it
some.
is. Is where I would rather be honest and take the credit hit than be dishonest and be seen higher. I don't want to earn respect through falsity.
same.
Very last thing.
Oh boy.
In my childhood, there were a few people who earned respect through lies, falsity. Wasn't real. Later on, I found out, and it was wildly disappointing. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to pretend I'm always on point speaking. How useless is that to someone out there who wants to be a speaker? Imagine,
Super.
I was on a podcast yesterday. He said, "Oh, don't worry. We'll edit out every all that stuff." And I that was a credit hit for me. You don't need to edit all that out. Why don't we just be real? Why can't we just be honest?
Do you understand it though?
Yeah, I get why. It creates a better experience, quote unquote, all that stuff. But there's a part of me that's just said, why don't you just get better at speaking?
It's not that easy. Because in the interim, you suck. It's just not, I understand. It's belief. It's self-belief. It's a belief thing.
Okay.
Because I have the same thing when I go on podcasts and they're like, yeah, if you make a mistake or anything, we'll edit it out. It's like, number one, no, I don't want you to. I don't want you to. I don't think I'm going to make a mistake in terms of like a noticeable one. I'll make an internal mistake for sure. Like, what the fuck is that word I want to say? And I'll like just tell a story for a little bit longer. It's like, yes, that's what I want to say. But I don't want you. No, I don't. That doesn't help me. I want to do it. I want to do it.
I think we lean into it, man. I
I
think
wanna
we
do it
lean into
live.
being more, I guess, authentic. Isn't it ironic how we're super authentic, but we don't even like that word? It's so interesting. It's, you know why? Because the word is thrown around. You know how many
Yes.
people I've heard say how just be authentic that are wildly inauthentic?
There's something to that. There's something to. I'm telling you, I think the concert example is the best one. If you would see someone who was supposed to have a sold out show, and only 15 people showed up, and you feel good about that, I'm not, whatever, you do you. But ask yourself, do you feel good about that because you don't have the confidence to go do that? Because that was my experience at dueling pianos. And I don't think I'll look at it the same again. It's like, oh, good for her.
Right?
Those people that went probably had a hell of a time, and they're super grateful that she performed, even though the audience wasn't full. There's something to that. And I think there's something to that as an example of, I feel confident in real life, so I don't have to be perfect on the podcast.
Yeah, I think there's something to that too. 100%.
I feel good. When I get off of here, I feel good. It's not like this is and again, please take this gently, because it is. I'm living my dream. I'm a privileged human. It's not like this is where I get to flex. It's like, all right, fuck yeah. Like, look at me. I look like shit all the time. I don't dress up ever. To a detriment. Like, I need a fucking haircut. But I don't want it to be the highlight. Like, it is what it is. I didn't have time to do everything. I showered quick. People are coming over today to visit Taryn. I helped her clean up a little bit. This isn't the highlight of my day in terms of my public image. It is the highlight of my day in terms of adding value and what's the word I'm looking for? Fulfillment.
For those of you out there watching or listening, bringing it back, I know we got to jump.
We do have to jump. We've had to jump.
I know. If you are more confident inside of yourself, genuinely, that I think is true freedom. Because if Kevin and I had advertisers and this show was brought to you by, sponsored by, blah, blah, I wonder if we could be as authentic as we are. I wonder if you could share everything you share and I could share everything I share. And that's the reason why we are choosing to be, we prioritize our character and who we are and who we aspire to be and helping you, serving you over looking good. Looking good is important, but it's secondary to the main focus. And I think some other people have it in the opposite order. And I think that's probably the best way I can describe it at this stage.
Are we off air? Okay, I sent you the steroids. They're on their way. We're off air? Very much kidding. Very much kidding.
This show is brought to you by
HGH, testosterone replacement therapy. When I was in high school, there was a baseball forum, and it was that word on the street was Kevin Palmieri is on steroids. It was going around all the towns. Like, first of all, my family was broke as shit, so I don't know where you thought I was getting money for steroids. Second of all, as much as the tattoos might not show it, I dislike needles strongly. It's like the worst thing in the world. So yeah, no steroids for the kid. But
yeah, people
TRT is the new thing. People are like, well, no, I'm natural. I just take TRT. It's like, well, no, that's not natural, actually.
Yeah,
because
when you're injecting testosterone.
Yeah, it's like
you heard about the lizards on the last episode.
What is it? Oh yeah,
you heard about the lizards on the last episode. So.
It's like, well, no, I'm in like the healthy range. It's like, yeah, you're at the very, 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 very high of the healthy range. The range is pretty big, so honestly, you're kind of taking steps.
You're up on superhero range.
Yeah, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Yeah. All right, cool. Next Level Nation, if you resonate with this type of content. And again, I'm weird. I don't like pumping our tires. I think we do a great job, and Ellen and I really want to add value. That's like the main two things for me. And I can't promise we are going to be as authentic and honest as possible because I don't really want to do it any other way. I wouldn't have done this if I won't say that because I did think I had to be somebody else for a long period of time, and I really worked through it. But yeah, we want to be authentic. We want to be real. We want to be honest, and we want to talk about what really matters: the good, the bad, the ugly, all that. So make sure you're subscribed, so you never miss an opportunity to get to the next level. There isn't really a point of subscribing, honestly, because we do an episode every day, but it helps us. That's what I'll say. It probably will help us more than it will help you because you know there's going to be an episode every day. But if you want to help us, we'd appreciate that. Next Level Nation is a free private Facebook group.
You'll never hear that on a show.
With amazing people. No. Shout out. There's a lot of YouTubers that say, look, it helps. Just subscribe, comment. It helps more than you think. That. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All the stuff. NextLevelUniverse.com has all the stuff. We have a lot of stuff going on. Many free things. Some cheap things. Some more expensive stuff. But we have a lot of free stuff. We pride ourselves in that. So check out the website. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Stay next level. Next Level Nation.